Good evening. It is now 6:30 p.m. I would like to call the regular Cultural Heritage Commission meeting of July 18th, 2024 to order. Before I proceed, I would like to take a moment to go over our meeting protocols for today. The South Pasadena Cultural Heritage Commission meeting for July 18th, 2024 will be conducted in person to maximize public safety while it's still maintaining transparency and public access. Members of the public can observe the meeting via Zoom. Will staff take a roll call, please?
Commissioner Cross, Commissioner Dean,
Here.
Commissioner Severson, Vice Chair Morris, excused absence, and Chair Lopez.
Here.
You have quorum.
Next, we move on to the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, do you have any requests for additions or revisions to the agenda? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing no requests, I would like to a vote of the commission to proceed with approval of the agenda as submitted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that's all those opposed say nay. No nays. We passes. Next is the disclosure by commissioners of site visits and ex parte contact for items on today's agenda. Commissioner Cross. Commissioner Dean.
Just drive-bys.
Commissioner Severson. Vice Chair Morris is excused. Myself, I would like to say that I am the designer of the item number 8, and I will be obviously recusing myself from that part of the agenda. So, very good. Next is public comment for general items that are not on the agenda. Has staff received any public comments in person or via Zoom?
We have not received any public comments in chambers regarding the non-agenda items. Guests on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on matters not on the agenda. And no, we do not have any public comments via Zoom.
Very good. The minutes for the regular the consent calendar items, do we go through those? All right, so I'm sorry, what do we do?
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. So for item 2 or 3, those are consent calendar items, which are the minutes from the previous meeting. So we'll need a.
So we want to vote on those to approve?
We'll need, yes, but also we'll like to see any commissioner have any comments for the meetings, any corrections need to be made.
So any commissioners have comments on the minutes from April 18th or May 16th? Or do we do it separately? You do it together? Okay. I see no comments. So do we have an approval motion? I do a motion to approve. All who seconds?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. All right. So now we go straight to our first item of the evening, number 4, 1635 Linden Street, project number 2578 COA.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. So for item number 4, which is 1635 Linden Street, staff provide additional document to the Commission as well as post on the city website earlier today, this afternoon. So staff is recommending the Cultural Heritage Commission to continue this item to a future meeting date to be determined, and a separate public notice will be required for the future public hearings. And in addition, staff has received several public comments, and so they are attached to your document here, but also those public comments also are posted on the city website for people to review. In conclusion, staff is recommending the Commission to continue this item to a future meeting date to be determined. However, if you receive public comments in person or via Zoom here, we can still open the public hearing, receive the public comments, and vote to continue this item to a future meeting.
Very good. Thank you. So I guess at this point we open the public hearing. Any comments in person or on via Zoom?
We do have public comments. Excuse me. in chambers. We do have 4. I'm going to call the first one, and then we'll follow it up with the Zoom comments that we have. The first one would be Heath Cousins. Excuse me if I said it incorrectly. It'll be 3 minutes when you come up to the podium. It'll start. Go ahead, step up to the microphone, sir.
Red button, yeah.
Testing, testing. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
As long as it's red, it's good. I believe we might need you to identify yourself and give us your address. I think that's part of the information we need. If it's red, it's on. Then press it one more time. There you go. There you go.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm the resident at 1635, along with my wife, Sachiko, who is over here. We received the notice of demolition and redevelopment on the 5th of July. It took us by surprise, and we've been involved in digging very deeply into the history and potential value of this house, because essentially we don't think it's a good idea to demolish it. Or in my case, I don't think it's even a very good idea to develop it. So I'm not quite sure where I should watch the time.
Yes, you have, I guess I can see the numbers from here. You have about 3 minutes. You have about 2.5 minutes now. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Cool. Thanks. Okay, so I looked at the historical resource assessment, and it was, as my neighbor said, quite damning. It sort of indicated that there was no historical or cultural value to it, and I would dispute that. So for a couple of reasons, just taking a step back in history, we looked into the original owner, Gordon Crocker. He was a typical East Coast transplant. He came from Taunton, Massachusetts, and made his way over to the West Coast. He was a soldier in the First World War. He was a 32nd degree Freemason, a Master Mason. He was a regular guy. He lived a regular life, and the people who followed after him were also of the same ilk. It's a small dwelling. It's a modest home. It's been occupied by the working class, basically. It seems that over the last few decades, it may have become a little bit forgotten. It hasn't been cared for. The trees in the backyard, including the large avocado trees, have all been chopped down. It's been a rental property, I suspect, by absentee landlords. And it was eventually sold for a song quite recently. And in the interim, it's kind of gone downhill a little bit. It's not in very good condition. So I guess the question is, what value does it have? Does it have historical value? Well, I would argue that it does. And I know that the statutes of the city ask that it not necessarily be a splendid example of the architecture, just a representative one. It has been recognized as such, as a historical resource, twice, in the 2001 and 2017 historical surveys. It's been a part of South Pasadena working class history for over 100 years. It's 101 years old. And I don't believe that in the history of this commission, there has been a case in which a place which has been regarded as a designated contributing property has been marked for demolition or anything like that. So I cede the remaining 3 seconds of my time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next person in chambers is Andrew Pickin. Sir, when you come to the microphone, please state your name, and you have 3 minutes as soon as you come to the podium.
My name is Andrew Pickin. I'm Pickin. I'm living at 1631 Linden, which is next door to this property. I noticed the vision statement of South Pasadena, which says, among other things, we cherish our community. I know that during the 710 debacle that sort of plagued this city for many decades, there was a fervent effort by community groups and the city council to stop that from happening. One of the tools that was used at that time was the idea of historic preservation. And if you don't mind, I'm going to quote a little bit from a newspaper article in South Pasadena from 2018, where Steve Lawrence, the past president of the South Pasadena Preservation Federation Foundation, said there is an undeniable link between historic preservation and a vibrant community. Historic preservation is not about stopping progress. It's about maintaining a valuable quality of life inspired by possibility through experiencing the accomplishments of our predecessors' works. Another past president of that same federation, Jennifer Trotu, said people in California have learned a lot about saving homes and buildings instead of tearing them down in the name of progress. So this is my fundamental sort of point that I'd like to get across to this committee. When I moved to this town in 18 years ago now, 2007, I guess, something like 17, 18 years ago, one of the things that attracted me was frankly the character of the town. It's a beautiful town with a lot of historic, beautiful buildings. It should be kept that way. It shouldn't be allowed to be in the name of progress diminished so much. And as Heath mentioned, the house that's next door to us is a lovely little home. He says it's in disrepair, but really it's a nice house. He's living in it. It's perfectly beautiful example of the time of the 1920s era. And the house I live in is also a 1923 house. And you know, there's a thin end of the wedge somewhere. If you start tearing down houses built in 1923, well, is my house going to go next? Is the developers going to somehow force eminent domain on the city for this progress that we're so obsessed with at the moment? I argue that no, we should maintain the character of our city, maintain the houses that exist before they're torn down, and leave something for our children and for the people who are going to come and move here. I mean, I have a son, 20 years old, might want to live here one day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next guest in chambers is Anna Victoria. Anna Victoria. Okay, I'm sorry. When you come to the podium, ma'am, go ahead and state your name. Speak clearly and make sure you have 3 minutes and you can see it on the by the microphone.
Not on.
There you go.
There we go. Hi, everybody. So I am the neighbor. I'm Anna Victoria Pumphrey. I live at 1636 Linden Street, and my family has lived in South Pasadena for 3 generations. The house 1635 was actually my mother's best friend's house. And growing up, I used to go over there. They have a nice backyard with old oak trees that I would hate to see removed for a new development. And the fact that it is a historical home, and what draws so many people for filming or tourism or just to live here is that it's a peaceful, safe, beautiful environment. And to put new apartment complexes right next to craftsman homes kind of disrupts the peace of mind and the dynamics that we already have. There are other zones within the city of South Pasadena that are more for apartment complexes. So it makes sense to not tear down something of historical value with historical trees, and not to mention that we have the Edison line right next to it, and building structures that are more than 1 story could interfere with that. It's just really sad to see that we're no longer putting our values of what the city was founding on to maintain the historical places that we have. And that is all I have to say.
Thank you.
Our next guest in chambers is Sanders Stanton. Sir, when you come to the podium, please state your name, and you have 3 minutes when you come to the podium.
Thank you. I'm here, I basically agree with everyone that's already said. This town is what it is because of houses just like this. It's quaint, it's neighborly, it's beautiful. And some houses are in better repairs than others. But when's the last time you walked by or drove by a multi-unit apartment building where there are in this block to the west of them, numerous ones, and said, oh, look at that great looking multi-unit apartment building. I don't think any of us ever have. Maybe every once in a while, but it's just a slow chipping away at the heart of South Pasadena. The reason people are attracted to be here, besides the great schools. And if we get rid of these resources, what do we have left? What's next? Oh, should we just tear down some old houses and put another beautiful strip mall? I mean, I would just encourage you guys to say, why should we keep making these mistakes that past generations have made and ignoring what we have and putting something in that's not nearly as good as what's already there? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
We do not have any more guests in chambers. We do have guests on Zoom. Our next guest is Amy Creston. Ma'am, as soon as you begin speaking, please state your name and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can you speak up a little bit louder?
Hi, can you hear me?
There.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. My name is Amy Creston. I live also next to this adorable little house. And I also moved to South Pasadena because it reminded me of home. It reminded me of Wisconsin, where I grew up. It's a really unique place in California. And for as long as I've lived in South Pasadena, I've heard about historic preservation. I mean, South Pasadena has been fighting Caltrans for 50 years. And the main thing that South Pasadena used to finally win the battle against the 710 extension was historic preservation. And I'll eat my hat if South Pasadena City Council would have allowed this particular cute little house to be knocked down 10 years ago, because they desperately needed all of this character to win that battle, in my opinion. So I don't see why it should change. It's stood us in good stead for many, many decades, for 100 years. And I just think I agree with everyone else. I think it's just a darn shame, and I don't think that we need to turn into some of the other places near us in Southern California. I'm very aware that there's a state mandate for more housing. I get that, and that Pasadena has to build more than 2,000 new housing units. But this is just not the right choice. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way to keep the historic homes and find ways to build some more housing. And the only other thing I'd like to say is I didn't get a notice of this, and I think I should have. I just learned from my neighbor. So I know it's being continued to a later date, but I'm really hopeful that the city does a better job at communication, because this was not shared with me. Okay, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we do have another speaker on our Zoom. His name is Josh. Josh, go ahead and state your name, and when you come on, I'll have you for 3 minutes.
Joshua Berkson. So anybody who says this house is a nice house, they're not telling the truth. Like, this house is trashed. You could look at the Google Maps from like 10 years ago. It hasn't been a nice house for a long, long time. Now, I'm actually quite shocked that this is even in front of you. This is a blatant HAA violation. And, Matt Chang, you should know better than this. Like, this project fits the zoning. This is a medium density residential, and you're not allowed to even reject this. This hearing has absolutely no purpose. And you already have two people who said that they'll sue you if you guys do reject this. I heard that you guys are continuing this, but this is a complete waste of South Pasadena resources that this is coming before you, because it's been like, we reviewed every house in South Pasadena, and this one has not fallen on the list of historic houses. The only reason it's here is because it's 45 years old. Just because something is 45 years old does not mean it's worth keeping. That is all.
Thank you.
And do we have any more guests on Zoom? Please go ahead and raise your hand. And we do not. That it concludes our guests on Zoom and in chambers.
All right, very good. Thank you. So at this point, we close the public hearing. And I would like to make a motion to continue this project to when it's next brought back to the committee. Have a second?
I will second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, now we move on to item number 5, 156 Peterson Avenue. Sure.
Okay, good evening, Chairperson, members of the Commission. My name is Dean Flores. I'm the Senior Planner presenting on this project tonight. It's project number 2568 NID HDP and DRX, located at 156 Peterson Avenue. So the project site, it's approximately 17,400 square feet and features an existing 2-story single-family residence located on the hillside on Peterson Avenue, adjacent to Hanscom Drive. The site is currently accessed from the adjacent parcel here in this driveway. And again, features an existing 2-story single-family dwelling, which has fallen in a bit of a disrepair. It was originally built in 1932 with no defined architectural style. The city has no permit history other than one for a patio cover in the 1960s. And this subject property is not included in the city's inventory list of historic resources. The project proposes a notice of intent to demolish the existing 2-story home in order to propose a hillside development permit and design review application to construct a brand new 2-story home with a 3-car garage. As part of the overall application process, this would be the first step for the notice of intent to demolish. The hillside development permit and design review application would then be reviewed by the city's planning commission at a later time. The South Pasadena Municipal Code requires properties 45 years or older to be evaluated to determine if the property could meet national, state, or local criteria for historic designation. If the commission determines that the structures are not eligible for historic designation, then the project, again, would be able to proceed to the planning commission for review and determination. So the required evaluation is in the form of a historic resources evaluation. This differs from an HRA because, again, this property is not included on the city's historic inventory list. So an HRE was prepared as required by the municipal code, and it was prepared by a consultant SWCA and is included as attachment 1 to the staff report. The HRE concluded that the single-family dwelling at 156 Peterson is lacking in significance in multiple criteria, including lack of a defined architectural style, lack of a cultural history, and lack of association with important people. As such, the property is recommended ineligible for the listing in the National Register of Historic Places or the California Register of Historic Resources, and is recommended ineligible for a landmark designation at the local level. That said, staff recommends that the Cultural Heritage Commission find the project exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to sections 15061B3 and 15303 of the CEQA guidelines, and also make a determination that the structure located at 156 Peterson does not meet national, state, or local criteria for historic designation, and that the proposed project may proceed through the city's development application process. That concludes my presentation. Staff's available for any questions, and we also have the applicant via Zoom as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean. Does anybody have any questions from staff? Okay, I see none. I have none. Does the applicant have a presentation?
They do not.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Okay, I see no. I will now open the public hearing. Staff, are there any public comments for this item?
We have not received requests for public comment in chambers. Attendees participating on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on item number 5. And we do not have public comments via Zoom.
Thank you. So at this point, we will now close the public comments section and discuss among the commission. Anybody wants to start the conversation? Any comments? I'll start. I think it's a fairly straightforward application, and I think it's very clearly indicated that it's not part of any kind of registry or list, and so it seems to me that it's a fairly straightforward application, and I think I can support for it to proceed to the next stage. All right. Anybody would like to make a motion? I believe it does not qualify for CEQA or any other things, and then we're giving permission for it to move forward in the process on the planning process. I second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against it? Okay, so it passes 4-0. Thank you. Did we skip something? I'm sorry?
I will call roll call.
Oh, sorry.
Chair,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay.
I apologize.
Commissioner Cross, Commissioner Ding,
Yes.
Commissioner Severson,
Yes.
and Chair Lopez.
Yes, sorry about
Motion carries.
it. I got excited.
Chair, if you can read the, I think there's an appeal period. Can you read the
Oh.
second page?
Let me see, where is that? Oh. Oh, here. Yes. The project has been approved subject to conditions and approval. This decision is final unless an appeal is filed within 15 days from today. No construction or activity may commence during this period. Appeal forms may be obtained from the city clerk's office. Thank you. This closes this item. Very good. Item 6, 425 Prospect Circle.
All right. Good evening, Chair Lopez and Commission members and Mayor Pro Tem. I am Tatiana Marin, and I will be presenting item number 6 on today's agenda, project number COA 24-004, located at 425 Prospect Circle. The subject site is located on the north side of Prospect Circle. It measures approximately 13,386 square feet. It is zoned RE for residential estate and is surrounded to the south, east, and west by 1 to 2-story residential uses. The subject site is currently developed with a 3,887 square foot 2-story single-family residence and a 413 square foot attached garage. The home was originally built in 1928 in the Norman Revival style. The Norman Revival style is noticeable in the structure's current condition with the use of wood shingle roofing on a hipped roof, brick chimney, timber facade details, and asymmetrical massing and casement windows. The subject site is categorized as a 2D status per the California Historical Resource Status Codes as a contributor to a district determined eligible for the National Register by the keeper. It is listed in the National Register, or the California Register, and is located within the Prospect Circle District. The applicant is requesting approval of a certificate of appropriateness to construct a 554 square foot first floor addition and a 234 square foot second floor addition to the rear. The first floor addition will remove the existing bedroom and bathroom to create a new guest bedroom and bathroom. The second floor addition will create space for a new main bedroom, bathroom, and closet space. When complete, the home will total 4,673 square feet with 5 bedrooms as illustrated in the plans. Here is the existing site plan. And here we have the proposed site plan with the first floor addition highlighted in a dark green and the second floor addition highlighted in a lighter green. The proposed project complies with the development standards for the RE zone. Here we have the existing and proposed first floor plans, also highlighted in green for the proposed. And now we have the proposed second floor plan showing the new second story addition. And here we have the proposed roof plan. Here are the existing and proposed front elevations. The addition will minimally be visible from the street through a new roof line. The only change being made to the front is a new copper standing seam roof, highlighted in a dark green. The existing and new walls of the home is proposed to have a smooth texture white stucco with light sand. Here we have the existing and proposed west side elevations. And now we have the existing and proposed east side elevations. Lastly, here are the existing and proposed rear elevations. The new addition will incorporate materials to match the existing styles, such as new light sand smooth stucco, as mentioned, and cementous shingle roofing material. The proposed materials for the addition will match the existing materials of the primary dwelling exactly. Thus, the matching materials combined with the lack of articulation of the new addition may not meet differentiation per the Secretary of Interior standards. As mentioned in the staff report, staff recommends review and approval from the chair as a chair review for further design refinement to be in compliance with the SOI standards of differentiation. As proposed, the project complies to all applicable development standards for the RE zone, as well as the city's historic design guidelines. In conclusion, staff recommends that the Cultural Heritage Commission find the project exempt from CEQA pursuant to Section 15301, Class 1, for existing facilities, since the project is not adding more than 10,000 square feet to the existing structure, and pursuant to Section 15331, Class 31 for historical resource restoration and rehabilitation, as the project is proposing modifications to a potential historic resource. Lastly, the proposed design meets many criteria of the design guidelines, and staff is comfortable moving this item forward, recommending an approval of this project. Staff has identified an item of the project that will require continued refinement. However, this item could be addressed through a condition of approval, such as condition number P4, requiring that the Cultural Heritage Commission Chair review the revised architectural plans prior to the building plan check process. This item is design refinement on the addition to meet the SOI standard of differentiation. And that concludes staff presentation. Staff is happy to answer any questions, and the project architect is also here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tatiana. Do we have any questions for staff from the commission? No? Yeah, there you go.
On the setbacks, when I was looking through the plans earlier today, I understand I guess it's the east setback. It's a little hard to tell on the plan, but I think it's the east setback that's in alignment with the existing garage. So I understand that, and I think that might kind of play into the review that you've been discussing, that it might need some more differentiation between the existing house and the proposed addition. So maybe some kind of step there. But when you're saying it's conforming, the chart is asking for 8.1. The garage non-conforming historic is at 311, and then somewhere in between those two is the new east setback at 5'6". I'm just curious if that one, and then the back setback, the requirement being 25 feet, and then the existing property at 41, way over that. But then with the addition, it's encroached up to 27'8". So it's close, but I'm wondering if there was any discussion as to why those requirements weren't fully met with the full setback, or if that's an issue for anyone else here, or if that's something that would be addressed in staff going forward.
That's a good question for staff.
Well, for the east setback, we did discuss with the project applicant. This was proposed to align with the existing attached garage, and since they already have a non-conforming setback, since they're not encroaching further into that non-conformity, then they're allowed to have that setback essentially.
Got it.
As for the rear setback question, I think I'm unsure of your question.
Yes.
Is it that why wasn't it met, or
Yeah, exactly.
why the 25 feet wasn't met?
Yeah, if you look at the plans, it's documented very well. It's a very lovely addition. I'm just curious. The bedroom sizing and everything. If it was as simple as pushing a wall, which you would of course lose square footage, but by 2 feet or something to actually meet that setback.
Scott, so are you saying that this setback is supposed to be 25 and it's not, it doesn't match, it's less than 25?
That's how I was reading it.
So, I guess that's the question for you, Tatiana, is if the back setback, I think is not clear
So
if it's over the line or if respecting the minimum required.
So is it conforming with, okay.
Yes, it
Okay,
is conforming.
then
Yes.
disregard my comment.
There you go.
Okay.
So that's
Disregard.
All right, cool.
We're good.
All right.
very good.
And I think staff can elaborate a little more on the east setback to answer Commissioner Silverston's questions. We understand the existing garage doesn't meet the setback requirement, which the east side yard setback, which is only 3 foot and 11 inches. According to our municipal code, the addition itself does allow continue that 3 foot 11 for a certain portion, as long as it doesn't make it worse. In this case, actually, they make it large or reduce more. So I guess so technically it could go 3 foot and 11, continue that wall according to a municipal code. But in this case, they do want to have a little separation, kind of step back. So in this case, setback is 5 feet and 6 inches, even though it doesn't meet your strict definition of an 8.1 feet. However, our municipal code does allow a continuation of a non-conforming wall. So next time, I think staff can put that section in the staff report, so we can explain it better in the staff report to give more guidance to the commissioner.
I actually have a question, a clarification and potentially a question. So, did you say in your presentation that the addition matches the existing home, like the finishes exactly, and that we should do a chair review in order to finalize that?
Correct.
They recommend that.
Yeah,
No, no, I
their
know, but
recommendation. Yeah.
but I mean, we all know that when you propose an addition on a historic thing, there should be differentiation.
Right.
So I guess my point is, rather than have this two-step process, shouldn't it have been presented with that differentiation already?
Well,
proposed?
the designer and the owner have the right to present what they want.
Oh, no, exactly.
And then we go through that.
Okay. But was that feedback provided that there needs to be
It
differentiation?
was, it
Okay.
was. And the applicant is here to provide their reasons why
Okay.
they didn't want to make those refinements.
Any other comments or questions for staff? Okay, very good. Does the applicant have a presentation? Sure, absolutely. Come on in.
Good evening, Commission members.
Hi, how are you? Would you
Good,
mind
good.
telling us your name and?
My name is Javier. I'm an architect for the project, Javier
Perfect, thank you.
Beltran. And well, the main reason why we decided to match the materials between the addition and the existing is because there was, for permit records that the city provided, there was a major addition at the half of the property in 1990. And it was a two-story addition, which carried towards the back of the property all over the garage. The garage used to be one story, is my understanding, and the second floor. When they did this addition, they matched exactly the same stucco and the same finishes. So there was no differentiation. So in our situation, we are adjacent to the 1990 addition, not to the original house. So there is no reason to do matching of newer additions, because otherwise we can end up with three different materials, original 1990 and then what else, right? So in this case, to make it cohesive, yet sensitive to the historic value, the owners are proposing to actually change the entire stucco of the home, match materials by changing the star stucco home. If you see the existing photos, Tatiana, you can help me. The existing stucco is it's a skip trowel finish that we would like to change. It's actually not doesn't feel as historic, and we would like to change it to a light sand finish, not a smooth Santa Barbara finish, but just a light sand finish. And in our submittal, in the presentation of materials, we have a picture of a sample of the stucco that we would like to. But since the stucco is the same for both 1990 and 1928, if you can let us just change the surface so everything matches. Now, there was.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but are you saying that you're going to do the stucco all the way around the whole house?
We would like that.
Okay, got
We
it.
would
Thank
like
you.
that. The second item is the roofing. The roofing was also a 2019, 2020 permit where they changed it from the original to a cementitious wood shake material, Cedar Light 600. And the entire home is now roofed with that material. So again, that's not a historic material,
Right.
but it is what California insurances can vouch for. So what we'd like to do is match that and not differentiate, because also there's a difficulty of differentiating a cementitious shake material, because it's not like composition shingle that you can create different patterns. Cementitious is only one pattern, unless you go with something really drastic like metal roof. But in this case, again, since we're not addressing the original 1928, we just want the whole house to be cohesive.
And once again, your plan is to replace the whole roof?
No,
Or
because
you're matching the new
we're
to the
matching
existing?
new
Gotcha, thank
to
you.
the Cedar Light 600.
Thank you.
Now, the windows, the windows are, the current windows are steel windows, original. But then again, it's a little confusing because they probably reused some of the windows from the original house into the 1990. So there is cohesiveness, but it's also mixed with some wood. We want to use steel windows, but the new steel windows now are slightly different than the old ones. So there will be differentiation on the windows. It'll be a 90% match, but you will be able to tell what's newer and what's not. Personally, the code requires a double glazed window for energy efficiency.
Title 24?
Right. However, I think there's an exception for historic homes. I would like to have the option of a 1/4-inch laminated single glazing for all the windows and doors, and then that way it could be a little more historic.
Well, when it comes to Title 24 and those kind of code issues, we do not govern that. So that you're gonna have to fight with building and safety.
Oh, okay.
We talk about the look of it, the materials, but if it's double insulated or whatever, that's Title 24, and that you fight over there, not over
Right.
here.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.
So those are basically the main items and
Okay.
the reasons why we want to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant? Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So at this point, we open the public hearing. Staff, any comments for this item on the public?
We do not have any public comments in chambers. Attendees participating on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on item number 6. And we do not have any public comments via Zoom.
Thank you very much. At this point, we close the public hearing section, and the commissioners can make comments. We can discuss. Anybody wants to start?
My questions were answered, and I think it's an interesting kind of question to have an addition to a historic structure, and that's where you're butting up against. I think it's a tough position to be in. I think it's been handled well. I appreciate the care with which the presentation and the plans have been put together to put this in front of us. The care of going through with the steel windows, finding something that is 90% there of what was existing. I think that's great, because I think the easy answer would have been to go something much cheaper, much easier. So I applaud that decision on its own. But
So you heard the explanation from the architect, and you feel comfortable with the explanations from the architect? I guess that's the question I have for you.
yes, I think so.
Okay, good, very good. Any other comments?
I just wish that we were so lucky in all proposals before us. I find the proposal totally acceptable. They're on board.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, from my part, I want to echo what my fellow commissioners have said, and certainly thank you for a very good presentation. Thoughtful presentation, thoughtful design, well placed. It's in the back of so it's minimally visible. And I heard everything you have to say, and I agree. Now, so I would like to talk a little bit more about a few things. So changing the texture on the whole house, how do we feel about that versus leaving it, having the original? I understand there is an addition to the original, but there's still an original house that has an original texture to it. How do we feel about changing the texture around the whole house? Second of all, I think that moves can be made to differentiate a house, subtle moves could be made without being big moves. And so, for example, I think you can make very subtle moves where the new addition attaches to the garage, because that side is somewhat visible. So and since they match on the same plane, I think a gesture could be made to separate the two. I'm not need to tell you what to do about that, but it could be a gesture could be made to separate the two. The roofing, I agree. I mean, I don't know. We are in charge. We have told, we part of the rules and regulations, and to make the separation. I wouldn't go as far as making a different roof material versus I just don't. I can't go that far. And this is all my personal opinion. Okay, so everybody has their own personal opinion. So I cannot go that far. I think that's. I just can't. So the texture is something we can talk about. And the windows, I also agree. You're going 90% there, so there's the instinct as an architect is to do what you've done, right? So if it was if I'm doing this house, I would have been very happy to get to where you got, right? So it's a beautiful addition, well placed, well scaled. Everything else is great. It's just that these rules that we are kind of we tell everybody we treat everybody the same way, and we have that differentiation is an issue that we kind of look for and ask of everybody to do. Now, I know what I heard your case. It's attaching to something that's not original, so forth and so on. I think it doesn't take a lot to make a small gesture that it would be suffice to me, right? At this point, I'm not quite there yet personally. And I think, again, I would approve it and have these, because we're talking about very subtle things. These have it done at a later time, with a chair review, that will be fine. I think we can very easily get there. But that's the way I feel. And then I want to see how the fellow commissioners feel about the texture on the house in general, as a concept, as an idea. The original versus the new is one thing, but then knowing that they want to actually do the whole house is something I would like to get an opinion from everybody, if it's okay.
I would just say that the architect has built my confidence up with his drawings, that he will make good decisions with the stucco.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't have any objections.
Okay, very good.
So I think you're correct. Architecturally, the way the addition has been situated, and it's an extension of the historic architecture. I think that leads to other decisions like the roof and the stucco, where yes, architecturally you want to unify a lot of this stuff. So I totally understand it with the roof and trying to make everything unified around the face of the building with the stucco. I think that leads to other decisions that maybe you're thinking, where it's more of a massing shift between the existing garage and the extension of a wall, where little plays like that, where if you do have, a roof that's all the same, the windows are close, you're not seeing a differentiation materially. You're seeing it through a mass change. And I think that's maybe something that you were alluding to there. I guess I have a question about the existing stucco, I think you said it was a 1990s edition stucco, and then the new edition wanting to kind of reclad everything. Does the 1990s stucco match the original stucco?
Good question. Good question.
And if not, then are you saying the new sand finish will match the, I think you said it was like a skip trowel, and I'm assuming that was like the 90s version. And then maybe there's something that's different from the original, or is the original the skip trowel?
The original is, on the original massing, there's the skip trowel. On the 1990s, there's a skip trowel.
Ah,
Got
So
it.
they match it. What I don't know for sure is if the skip trowel on the original is original, or it was at some point resurfaced on its entirety. But it doesn't look good. I mean, you would, and I want to show you a picture. I don't know, Tatiana, do you have that picture of the existing? If not, I can put it up here.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
can you,
hold on. Let's see. Is there a specific picture that we should be looking at? Let's see.
If you see on page 8, 3.5,
Uh-huh, gotcha.
the two pictures on the left,
Yes.
and if you zoom in, it's a pretty lumpy skip trowel. And then if you look at page 8, 3.8, where it says backyard views, and you zoom in on those 3 photos, that's the 1990s.
You know, unfortunately, that kind of detail is not coming through on the photos, to be honest. Yeah, would you mind? That would be great. Yes, thank you.
They really got carried away with it itself. Yes.
yeah, so
Yeah, well.
so this photo that's on the tablet here is that's of the 90s edition.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
This is the 90s edition. Got it.
yeah.
Brothers.
Thank you.
Is there a photo that we can look at like this of the
Yeah.
front?
That was the previous page I mentioned, and I can put on the iPad.
Oh. Zoom in there a little bit, you can tell. Thank you. That's exactly what we needed to see.
And if I can show you the front.
Sorry, but
While we're looking at this, can you give the rationale that you were explaining before about why you would like to go away from the original and go to a new sand finish?
I don't know for sure if that existing, if that stucco surface on the original 1928 structure is original, in fact. And it looks a little too sloppy for that style. So in any, I think there's better historical reference to it. And if it's been compromised already, if we can change it to a better stucco, I think it'll be a more accurate representation of the historic value. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I have to say, oh, sorry.
No, thanks.
You keep going.
Thanks. That's it. Thank you.
You good? I have to say, I probably, let me think about this. I agree with changing that texture. Yeah, I feel, let's just say I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable I feel comfortable changing that texture.
And,
Let's just say that.
I also wanted to point out, sorry to interrupt you, but here's the stucco that we're proposing.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
It should be a light sand finish. And the wood boards, we're also want to look into stripping the wood boards and just make them weathered.
Yeah.
Like that photo.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think, like I said, I personally feel comfortable, and my fellow commissioners can speak what they think, but after seeing the photos and talking about it a little more, I feel comfortable that I think it's when I say it's an improvement on the historical side, because I think it's kind of offensive, I guess, but I'm gonna say yes, it's an improvement. So I'm gonna be comfortable with that personally. So any other comments or questions from the commissioners? So I would like to make a motion to approve the project, and it follows all the, all the sequels and all the stuff that I'm supposed to say. I'm sorry, but but I would like to. I'm gonna, like I propose, like the staff recommended, and I agree. If we can just see what you can do to give me a little differentiation, especially on that wall that is wall to wall. It could be, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be very, very subtle. So I'll let you, I'm not gonna say, but I'm gonna let you kind of decide that. So approve the project, because I think we all agree that it's all these things that I'm supposed to say. I always forget all of them things. So if you want to jump in, you're good. So that would be my motion. Anybody wants to second? All those in favor? Oh, sorry. Roll call.
Commissioner Cross, Commissioner Ding,
Yes.
Commissioner Severson,
Yes.
Chair Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so now that this I can read. Congratulations, the project has been approved, subject to the conditions of approval. This decision is final unless an appeal is filed within 15 days from today. No construction or activity may commence during the period. Appeal forms may be obtained from the city clerk's office. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Item 7, 846 Garfield Avenue.
Good evening again, Chairperson, Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem. My name is Dean Flores, Senior Planner with the Community Development Department, and I'll be presenting on this item. Just a certificate of appropriateness, COA 24007, located at 846 Garfield Avenue. Subject property is located along Garfield, on the east side of Garfield, in between Montrose and Mission Street, in his own residential estate, which is a single-family zone. Subject property is approximately 10,000 square feet in size and is rectangular in shape. The existing site has a single-family home, which was originally built in 1921, and the English Revival architectural style. The existing home currently measures at 1,602 square feet and is characterized by its smooth stucco finishes, a prominent chimney, steep gable roofs, and wood casement windows. Property also includes a detached garage towards the rear of the property. The applicant is proposing a certificate of appropriateness, which includes an interior remodel of a portion of the existing home, a new single-story 514 square foot addition towards the rear of the home, and a new 110 square foot attached pergola. The purpose of this addition is to expand the third bedroom and to add an office space. Even though the proposal is for a single-story addition towards the rear of the home and not really visible from the public street, the certificate of appropriateness requires review by the commission due to addition being greater than 200 square feet, which is the threshold prescribed in the South Pasadena Municipal Code for commission review. As the staff report shows, the project remains in compliance with the applicable development standards, including but not limited to floor area ratio, lot coverage, setbacks, parking, and building height. This slide shows the site plan, which shows the location of the proposed work. In blue, you'll see the location of the interior remodel, which consists of new closets and some new windows to match the existing wood casement windows. The single-story addition, which is highlighted in green, which again is to enlarge the third bedroom and add a new office space. And the new covered pergola, which is attached to existing rear porch at the rear of the home. And again, this is just a floor plan showing the interior of the proposed work. And the office space is attached to the new bedroom. Here in the proposed south elevation shows the location of the addition towards the rear of the home, which is highlighted in a dark gray. And as you can see, the proposed addition is differentiated, consistent with the SOI standards from the existing home by exhibiting a lower plate height and roof height. And on this new slide, it shows that the addition is carefully articulated by being stepped back on each side of the home. And additionally, the proposed addition will feature similar exterior stucco and wood casement windows to match the existing materials of the home, so that the addition would substantially match the overall architectural style of the home. So, point being, the differentiation is more of the building form rather than the materials being proposed. With respect to the design findings, staff report includes a discussion of compliance with the SOI standards and the South Pasadena design guidelines. That said, staff recommends that the Cultural Heritage Commission find that the project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to sections 15301, which is for existing facilities, and that the addition is less than 10,000 square feet, and 15331 for historic resources. And approved project number COA 24007, subject to the conditions of approval. Also want to note that staff did provide an additional document for this item number 7, in which the fire department provided updated conditions of approval, which was provided to the commission and uploaded online. That concludes my presentation. Staff's available for any questions that the commission has, and the applicant is here as well.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
Does the commissioners have any questions from staff or for staff? Dean, one quick question.
Yes.
The volume in the back that is being kind of taken over, the existing volume that's being taken over, is that an existing, is that an addition to the house at some point, or that's part of the original house? Do you know by any chance that on the permits or on the okay, good, thank you. Okay, so I think he can answer later, so we're good. What you can check.
Yeah, according to building records, it doesn't show any addition.
Okay.
But
yeah. Okay, very good. Thank you. Sure. Okay. So if there's no other questions for staff, does the applicant have a presentation?
They don't have a presentation per se, but they are
Very
available
good.
for any questions.
Very good. So any questions for the applicant? I guess I'll ask you the question now.
Hi, good evening, Commissioners. Odom Stamps, representing Stamps and Stamps at 1518 Mission Street, and I'm here with my clients this evening, Matthew Brady and Nicole Ball and their daughter. And I'm here to answer any questions you'd like, and the first one sounds like you'd like to ask is the size and configuration of the addition on the back of the house. The city no longer has good records of their permit history. Unfortunately, a number of things have happened in recording prior permits, but it is our understanding that that was an addition to the house. It had a different roof pitch. It has different windows.
Correct.
The interiors finishes are not to the same standard as the rest of the house. So I would say that it is an addition, though I cannot show you the documentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? All right, so at this point, we open the public hearing.
We do not have any, or we have not received any requests for public comments in chambers. Attendees participating on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on item number 7. And we do not have any public comments via Zoom.
Okay, thank you very much. At this point, we close the public comments section and we open discussion on the commissioners. Anybody would like to start?
I just say that I like what I'm looking at. And looks to me as if they followed the rules, and if somebody sees it differently, I'd like to know.
Very good, thank you. Well, personally, I think thank you for, it's a very clear presentation, so thank you for a very good presentation. I think the scale and the massing and the articulation of the volumes are very appropriate, and I don't see a problem with the addition. That's my own personal opinion. Yes. All right. So would anybody like to make a motion?
A motion to proceed?
Motion to approve based on that it doesn't qualify for CEQA and that it follows all the rules and regulations of the
Yes, I would like to. Yes, I would like to make a motion.
I'll second the motion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cross,
Yes.
Commissioner Ding,
Yes.
Commissioner Severson,
Yes.
Chair Lopez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. This project has been approved, subject to the conditions of approval. This decision is final unless an appeal is filed within 15 days of today. No construction or activity may commence during the period. Appeal forms may be obtained from the city clerk's office. Thank you. All right. Well, the last project is I will be recusing myself. I am, it is my design. I was hired by Peter and Jessica Yoon to design their addition to their house on Fletcher. So me, Conrado Lopez, and my company, Tool Studio, did the drawings, and I obviously got paid by them. And I will be recusing myself, and you guys can discuss.
Commissioner Cross, before you arrived, we nominated that you would lead this hearing.
So
Let me see.
Oh,
Do I
I'll let Chair Lopez exit the.
Thank you.
Scott,
come on, guys.
You've got a scope.
So thank you, Commissioner Dean, Severson, and Cross. So since we don't have a chair or vice chair for this particular items, based on our city attorney's advice, is that we'll let the 3 commissioners decide who will be the acting chair for this particular item. So floor is yours for 3 gentlemen to decide who is going to be the acting chair just for this particular item. But staff definitely can guide you to like what's the next, like and also we'll have a script for you if you need it.
I'll do it. Okay. All right, for our agenda item number 8, 1705 Fletcher Avenue. We have a request for a certificate of appropriateness. And do we have a presentation from staff?
Yes, we do. Good evening, commissioners. I will be presenting item number 8 on today's agenda, project number COA 24-006, located at 1705 Fletcher Avenue. Sorry about that. No. Okay, thank you. Go ahead. Go ahead, switch it. Okay. All right. The subject site is a rectangular shaped lot located on the west side of Fletcher Avenue. It measures approximately 7,753 square feet. It is zoned RS for residential low density and is surrounded to the north, east, and south by 1 to 2 story residential uses. The subject site is currently developed with a 2,261 square foot 2-story single-family residence and a 550 square foot detached garage. The home was originally built in 1913 in the craftsman style. Craftsman style is noticeable in the structure's current condition with the use of a low gabled roof, river rock columns, horizontal massing, earth tone wood shingle siding, and projecting 1-story porch. The subject site is categorized as a 5D1 status per the California Historical Resource Status Codes as a contributor to a district that is listed or designated locally. The subject site is located within the Wayne Bushnell Fletcher district. The applicant is requesting approval of a certificate of appropriateness to construct a 63 square foot first floor addition and a 277 square foot second story addition to the rear. The first floor addition will remove the existing mudroom and second bathroom and expand the existing kitchen and create a pantry. The second floor addition will create space for an additional bedroom and bathroom. When complete, the home will total 2,601 square feet with 4 bedrooms as illustrated on the plans. Here is the existing site plan. And here is the proposed site plan with the addition highlighted in green. The proposed project complies with the development standards for the RS zone, as well as those development standards for small non-conforming residential parcels, as the property measures under 10,000 square feet. Here are the existing and proposed first floor plans. And here we have the existing and proposed second floor plan, showing the new second story addition. Here is the existing and proposed roof plan. And now we have the existing and proposed front elevations. The addition will not be visible from the front street-facing facade, and no changes are being proposed to the front-facing facade. Here are the existing and proposed north side elevations. And here are the existing and proposed south side elevations. And now we have the existing and proposed west rear elevation. And the applicant provided some 3D elevations of the existing and proposed design. As proposed, the project complies to all applicable development standards for the RS zone, development standards for non-conforming lots, as well as the city's historic design guidelines. In conclusion, staff recommends that the Cultural Heritage Commission find the project exempt from CEQA pursuant to Section 15301, Class 1 for existing facilities, since the project is not adding more than 10,000 square feet to the existing structure, and pursuant to Section 15331, Class 31 for historical resource restoration and rehabilitation, as the project is proposing modifications to a potential historic resource. Lastly, staff recommends that the Cultural Heritage Commission approve the project subject to the conditions of approval. That concludes staff's presentation. Staff is happy to answer any questions. And we also have the project applicant here to answer any questions.
All right, do we have any staff, do we have any questions for staff from the commission? All right. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Good evening. How are you guys? Not a very official presentation. I just want to say a few words from my client. A lot of stuff that was on the narrative, but very quickly. They're a young family here in South Pasadena, and they love their house. They have a twin kids, and they only have 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom upstairs. So they kind of see the future. They're getting older now, so they want to have a little bit more space upstairs for each kid to have their own bedroom. They only have 1 bathroom upstairs, so they would like to get a 2nd bathroom upstairs. And the first floor is we're only adding 62 square feet. Just and reconfiguring the kitchen. The existing one is a galley kitchen, and it doesn't lend itself to be a more of a congregating space. So now the new kitchen kind of moves towards the back and creates a little more space for the family to kind of have informal dinner time. The formal dining rooms in the front that is beautiful. So I don't think they don't really want to mess with that. They love their house. They love the architecture. So they were insistent on having an architecture and a design that complemented seamlessly, that you cannot see from the front, basically, and that kind of it matches all their things. At the same time, they want to be differentiated. So there are lines on the elevations where the shingle, the siding is going to be changed in scale. And then we keeping the roof, the same roof. The window design is slightly different. Again, just it's very subtle. And I think I'm here to answer any questions if you have any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions of the applicant? Okay. I will now open the public hearing. Staff, are there any public comments on this item?
We have not received any requests for public comments in chambers. Attendees participating on Zoom, please click the hand icon to make a public comment on item number 8. And we do not have any public comments via Zoom.
I assume you do not want to rebut yourself, so we will now close the public comments and have further discussion amongst the commission. Someone like to begin?
I don't have any questions. I think it's a thoughtful addition, and it's great to be able to give you the space that your family will need within a modernization of a home that keeps the historic nature of that street and that area. So.
Okay, so I will make a motion to approve the COA for 1705 Fletcher Avenue, making the mandatory findings and the project-specific findings, number 2, number 5, and number 8, and that the project is exempt from CEQA, and that the project would be subject to the conditions of approval. Commissioner Cross seconds, and can I get a roll call?
Commissioner Cross, Commissioner Ding,
Yes.
Commissioner Severson,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, get back up here and finish your job.
Commissioner,
Oh, yeah.
read the last.
Congratulations, your project has been approved subject to the conditions of approval. This decision is final unless an appeal is filed within 15 days from today. No construction or activity may commence during this period, and appeal forms may be obtained from the city clerk's office. All right, turning it back over. You're welcome.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
you're back.
Okay, yeah, we had a very, very busy council meeting. It was very well attended. We had a full house here last night. And the main issue on the the agenda was raising the height limit on the city, height limit in the city. And the council introduced a proposal to increase the height limit from the existing 45 feet to some higher limit. And within certain areas of the city, and to place an initiative on the ballot to that effect. All right, the council hired a contractor to do a survey of this to the residents of the city and to change the height limit, put it on the ballot. Now, the survey was extremely scientific. Okay, it wasn't sent out to everybody. It wasn't sent out willy-nilly. I didn't get one. Initially, I was wondering why I didn't, because I was a council member, and then that was not what the survey was looking. It was try to get a cross-section of the city. Now, needless to say, the people of the city are against it. No surprise there. The company that did the survey nobody was surprised. All right. So where to now? The why we would do this is the RENA assignment to the 2,200 dwelling units in the city that was mandated by the state of California.
Yeah.
All right, we've been working on that, we meaning the city, been working on that now for a couple of years to achieve what we call the RENA numbers. And, this is something we have to do. So to achieve this number, we need to either increase the density units for each acre of the city, increase the units per acre, or to go up, or to go out. Now, to the best, I've been working on this now for close to 4 years. I don't know, we keep coming back with different ways, but I don't know how we're gonna come out with these numbers by going out because we're pretty limited on land in the city. Actually, I'm going off on a tangent here. I don't want to get into influence one way or the other. When the survey started, it was quite, when the results were coming in, it was quite evident that the residents were going to vote against it. As the more was learned about it through the survey, if this was like this, would you do it then? Or would you go approve it then? And the difference between approving it, not approving it, became closer and closer. Repeat, closer, not there. So the alternative to not doing this is to puts the city in a position where it can't meet these RENA numbers or a housing element. So from working on this for years, this is it's a solution that the council is ordering. Now, having put it on the agenda last night, having it open to the public, and it was quite crowded, and people had the opportunity to voice their opinion. And some of them would, that's where we're going to pick up maybe some alternatives, other ways to do this. But that agenda item took over 2 hours. And for me to explain it here in less than 5 minutes would be very difficult.
Yeah.
But it's something that, being in this position as the liaison, it's actually my first opportunity to introduce it to the city. Now, not everybody was here last night. Some people are watching this on television that maybe didn't know about last night, maybe didn't know about what's going on. We will continue to do that until everybody knows about it, and then we'll make a decision from there whether it goes on the ballot. Now, if it does not go on the ballot, then the city is going to be mandated to do this by outside influences. We lose our control. I think that's the best way to put it. And by doing this, we will maintain a level of control over where these height limits would go, to what height limit, and how it'll be accomplished, whether we increase the density in a given area, or we stick to height limits. We start at 45 feet, we're already there. You know, do we go to 60? Do we go to 84, then up to 100 or 120? These are things that will be discussed in the upcoming council meetings fairly soon, very soon. And the first decision is going to come up as to whether or not it does go on the ballot. And I can't predict that. There's nobody at this point that can predict it. If it absolutely is not going to win, maybe it won't go on the ballot. At that point, it'll be pushed out for the next election. And in the interim, the control that we currently have over the building within the city, we won't have that control. The builders, but yeah, that will take over or can take over because, you know, well, now I'm going into the weeds. I don't want to go any further than that. But I felt that that was the biggest item on there last night. And, you know, we finished about 1 o'clock. We finished the regular session about 11. And the rest of the things can be discussed at another time. But that was the important. So.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Any comments from commissioners? No other, any comments from subcommittees? Kind of quiet on that. Comments from staff?
Thank you, Chair and members of the commission, also Mayor Pro Tem. So I think staff will continue work with the various subcommittee members, and then we'll have several creative. One for the room addition at 1716 Wayne, but I think actually several Mills Act. I think we'll continue work with different commissioner on the subcommittee for the Mills Act. I think we have 3 or 4 Mills Act. I think 4 Mills Act applications. So, and then all of commission are involved in some capacity one or another. So our staff will reach out to you, have a continued follow-up, site visit, and also a small group. So stay tuned. And I think another thing is at last night's council meeting, our staff initially, actually city council gave us the blessing to initiate a zoning code amendment. And I think we all heard from a lot of the members of the community and also the local architect that sometimes it takes too long for staff to processing projects. We definitely heard that. And so we're gonna initiate a code amendment to hopefully streamline some of the process. So some idea definitely will be involving with this commission, design review board as well, planning commission. The way we're looking at it, can we simplify some of the process, for example, from commission review to chair review? So Chair Lopez might do in her additional items, or maybe some chair review can be delegated to staff level review. So we're definitely engaging this commission, design review board, planning commission, the residents, but also local architect, contractors to get some idea like what you like to see to streamline the process, make it faster to get your approval, whether it be a window change out, room addition, ADU, or even signage or tenant improvements. So hopefully we can speed up some of the process for those projects. So stay tuned. We'll definitely bring this item to your body to kind of get your feedback, kind of what you heard or personally have you experienced, what you like to think to improve that process. So we'll definitely bring it to you either next month or in September meetings. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. So I think if there's any no other questions or comments, that it adjourns adjourns this meeting to the next meeting, which will be scheduled for Thursday, August 15th at 6:30. Thank you very much. Have a good night.